So welcome, everyone. Looks like we're live. Welcome to our session. It's Tuesday, the 23rd of August, 2022, primary election day here in Florida. My wife and I just hit the polls and did that, which was terribly convenient, by the way. It was a local, nice little church, right? And a lot of the locals were there and they escorted us in. And it was all very nice. Yeah. So our first time voting in Florida. So there we go. So I've got my head into a lot of, candidates and policies and all that kind of stuff today, which leads me to our topic, which is how to make sense. How to make sense of what? Of anything. So we're gonna take that up here today. Good to see you, Catherine. Let me give you some contrast. I've recently, over the last few weeks, gotten into something that I've been resisting for a long time, which is engaging in TikTok as a promotional platform. So I'm putting out videos there and short videos for short attention spans, right? Apparently, most people's attention spans are even shorter because while I might put a 1-minute video talking about, sales tips and entrepreneurship and personal development type topics, which we talk about, I'm already more than a minute into this one. Right. So here we are talking for more than a minute. But when I put out like little bites, right, they make sense within the context of here's the duration of the video, of the oratory. OK. And having never seen a video of me before, no friggin' idea who John Lavenia is, no context, nothing. It needs to make sense in that one bite-sized chunk. And then there's everything else. And I'm deliberately looking for things that make sense to me. But a lot of the stuff that is amazingly popular, by the way, it doesn't have to make sense at all, right? It's just whatever entertainment value, shock value, flashing lights, colors, dancing, and what does it all mean? Well, that doesn't mean anything. So for me, it doesn't make sense to continue to engage in that communication. I'm not going to keep receiving that communication. I go on there and I, look for a couple things just for context, what's getting traction, from from colleagues, right? Other people who post a lot of stuff. And that, like more intellectual stuff, not dancing videos. But then the flood of other stuff is stuff that I'm just not gonna engage in. It doesn't make sense to me. So there is, just to give you some contrast, there is one platform or type of media which may or may not be attractive to whatever the audience is, right? There's an intended audience, and then there's, the non-intended audience, which we don't care about. So here's the contrast, right? So take TikTok over here, and now take the late Bob Proctor. I loved Bob. What a great guy. What a great mentor. I know many of you have studied his stuff. I've sat through Bob Proctor seminars for multiple days. So here's the 2-day-long seminar. And it's 8 hours on day one and 8 hours on day two. And we're taking notes and we're studying and we're writing out our goals and we're doing all the stuff that we do there. So that is something that obviously holds my attention much longer than, a dance video, which I can't get through 5 seconds of. Okay. If I can get through 2 days of that, because it makes sense to me. Now, this is what I want to dig into with you guys, because we're all engaged in some form of sales and marketing, some form of entrepreneurship. Even if let's say you're watching this on YouTube right now and you've got a job. Okay. Well, you probably wouldn't be in this conversation if that was the totality of your ambition for your life. Okay. And maybe climbing the corporate ladder is your path. I'm not here to invalidate that. So if that's the thing, then you still have what? You still have the opportunity to sell your way into higher levels within that structure, assuming that structure can stand the test of time. Okay. Which is another consideration, right? I mean, I'm just having a conversation with some of my friends earlier about different businesses we've engaged in, which are no longer, right? They don't exist. Betting on other people's experiments and getting into pre-launches and all that. I mean, it looks real tasty on the outset, but there's a lot that goes into keeping a business going. And a lot of that comes down to keeping the customer happy and the customer's attention. What we're talking about here is the fight for attention. So whereas I couldn't maintain attention on the 15-second TikTok dance video because it doesn't make sense to me, I can maintain attention for days in a Bob Proctor seminar. Can the customer maintain attention? And the customer in this case could be the business that you work for, or the company, right? But if you're an entrepreneur, then are you keeping the attention of your customers long enough to maintain business over time? It has to make sense to the end user. So that's what we're talking about today. Who does it make sense to? So when I think about this, it really comes down to a couple of things. Number one is just natural, interest, right? So what are people interested in? Which is a great question. And there are whole marketing firms that go to work on assessing and surveying and finding out what do people want. That's a big question, right? That's the most important question. Ralph Emerson said that your income would be in correlation to the demand for what you do. That's what people want, right? Not necessarily what they need, what people want. So the demand for what you do, your ability to do it or to deliver it, right? Your competence. And then third, the difficulty there would be in replacing you. Well, if you're among the best at delivering what people want, there's going to be very little competition. You're going to be really hard to replace. You're going to make a lot of money. So the demand for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there would be in replacing you. Use that as sort of a benchmark, if you will, for what you're looking to engage in or what you're dedicating your attention to, right? What is keeping your attention? If it's, let's say, for example, I was just talking about this last night in our book study group. The arts, movies, and music, right? So show business, okay? This is something that is very fickle. How many times, and I'm sure you can all think of one, maybe those of you who are here with us live can put it in the chat. Think of a one-hit wonder. This captured people's attention. So think of a musical act that had a great hit, one great hit, and then that's it. Well, was that really it? Did they continue to produce music? Were there other songs on the album? Did they make more albums? Did they do more recordings? Yeah, probably. But the one that everybody remembers and that kept their attention and that made sense to them was like a one-off. I'll give you one. Does anybody remember the song Baby Come Back by the band Player? Baby come back, any kind of fool could see I was wrong, right? No? Okay. How about, oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Okay. Can anybody name that artist? One hit wonder. Tony Basil. Okay. So definitely grabbed attention for a time. And then I don't know what. I don't know if that's the same Tony Basil that acted in the movie Easy Rider. One of the girls in Easy Rider, 1969, was that 1970? Right around the year I was born, right? With Peter Fonda, right? And they're riding across the country, getting to New Orleans for Mardi Gras, right? One of the girls in there, they're all dropping acid and getting all wacky, but was named Tony Basil. I don't know if it's the same girl. Brunette, so maybe. But here's the point, is that this is something that caught people's interest and held their attention for a time. But longevity, here's the thing, guys, longevity. This is something that people got to really kind of raise their IQ on this. Really, what are we going to do to continue to serve people beyond that fickle initial hit? So I've had to look at this for myself, because one of the things that Proctor told me, since I'm on a Proctor trip today, is that if you're running your business the way you were 5 years ago, you're going out of business. He said that back in the late 80s, by the way. That was the 1900s when he said that. So now today, with social media and all the freaking TikTok and everything else, right? And I'm not here to invalidate people that shake their butt on TikTok. If that's the thing, if that's somehow they're monetizing that and that's like a big, nice enterprise for them, okay, I suppose. Is that contributing to the, morality of, society? Probably not. But the thing is, what do people want? And a lot of times people are attempting to make sense and attract attention based on fads, based on things that will come and go. Another thing along those lines, like a one-hit wonder, pet rock, right? So that was a big hit. Suddenly people were spending money on a rock, right? So that was cute. Okay. Is that still for sale? Probably not. I remember at one point people were selling authentic Yankee Stadium garbage. Like, here's your plastic box of garbage for real from Yankee Stadium, garbage cans. And people bought that for a time. Considering the direction that much of society has gone, maybe that's a hot item still. I don't know. I never bought it, but the idea here is that we want to make sense over time. So what I was thinking about today, as I was going through my my morning, not routine, I was off routine. I did go to the gym, so that was good. I got back and my wife was like, "You ready to go vote?" I'm like, "No." So we did our research on candidates. We went and did our thing. So that was not something we do every day, right? So this is a different thing outside of our routine. But I was looking for what makes sense to me that these candidates are saying that they're about. Okay, so this is a sales pitch, guys. Make no mistake about it, right? You're the employee. You sold yourself to your boss at the company. You're an entrepreneur. You're selling your business, your services, what have you, to your customers. You're a political candidate. You're selling your platform to potential constituents. It's all a sales pitch. What makes sense? Now, what I found is, and I think we can all agree with this, is that we've all gotten sales messages via email, junk mail. Here's your, the sales brochure in the mailbox and whatever, right? So we've all gotten communication from people who are attempting to speak our language, right? And there's a few different forms of that. We're going to be getting into, I'm kind of diving myself right now. I'm diving into more like copywriting techniques and, and you might be thinking, John, you're already an author and lots of words and stuff. So why do you need to study copywriting? Well, you're never done. You're never done. In fact, the greatest copywriters I know have written the most garbage out of anybody. It didn't make sense. Let me qualify garbage. Here's what garbage is. Beautiful words that didn't connect with the audience. No sale. No sale. All right. So it needs to make sense to your ideal target audience. So I'm going to go sharpen my saw in that way. And all of you can do that. I'm thinking right now, I see my friend Mandy here. Hi, Mandy. So Mandy has reporting services that she can do for e-commerce professionals and, making sense of statistics and all this kind of stuff. What makes sense? Let's say I was the ideal customer. All right. I was the person who detested reporting or didn't know how to do reporting or doesn't have time for reporting and would like to delegate that to someone who actually enjoys it and is better than I am at doing that. So what are the hot buttons, pro and con, right? For Mandy to make sense to me, she needs to hit some buttons. And remember, it's not about need, it's about want. It needs to make sense to me, not just intellectually, but emotionally. So here's what you want, here's what you don't want. So we have contrast there. I've been attempting to give you some contrast today in our talk, right? Here's really short attention span, ridiculous TikTok videos. Here's two-day-long seminars with Bob Proctor. See the difference? Big difference, okay? So in the same way, we can gain clarity for our customers through contrast by saying, here's what you want, here's what you don't want. What's one of the ways, thinking in terms of the sales pitch itself, the copy, right? What's one of the ways that you could put a thorn in the side, you can rub salt in the wound of the person who is struggling with reporting, let's say, right? The miserable, not income producing time spent on doing this obligatory, mundane, boring. I don't know. I'm sure Mandy doesn't find it boring, but these things that oh, you just suffer through it. I know, I get it. I've been there. It's not your fault. Okay, so we're doing what? We're gaining agreement. Yeah, I hate doing this reporting. But then I found, or I founded, in this case, right, the system that we use to make this an easy flowing experience, and your life is, unicorns and rainbows, because you're not alone, right? And here is the solution. Imagine, press those emotional buttons again. Imagine being free to create and work on your e-commerce business without all of the cumbersome, obligatory, mundane reporting stuff, right? So we're painting a picture. We're getting contrast, and what do we have in there with that whole agreement? We have kind of like a common enemy. The common enemy is this activity which we detest and that doesn't make us money. Let me relieve you of that, right? So that is something where, let's say somebody enrolls in that now, right? So I'm going to go, that makes sense to me. What I just made this up, right? So what Mandy just told me makes sense to me. I want to offload that task. Okay. And as long as she can deliver, customer for life, unless I decide to, shut down that business, I don't need the service anymore, but customer for life. She's better at that than I am. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to learn how to do that. I like to do this. I'm better at this. Okay. So that is something that could stand the test of time. That's not a one-hit wonder. It makes sense in the long run, as long as she can deliver. Remember what Ralph Emerson said: the demand for what you do, your ability to do it or to deliver it, and the difficulty there would be in replacing you. Now, does she have competition? Sure, I suppose. I don't know too much about that space of professional services. It's not my space, but I would venture that there are other people on planet Earth who do reporting, and of course that whole field of accounting and all the stuff that kind of grows out of that. But what's the real offer? What is it that makes sense to me? Right? More results in less time with less effort. So if you're looking to make sense to people, intellectually and emotionally, get people thinking in the way that communicates bigger results, expansion in less time, with less effort or less arduous, right? So these are skills that you can pick up in terms of your own ability to communicate, to make sense to people for where they're at, not where you want them to be. I can't sell anything to the girls shaking their booties on TikTok. I don't know. I have no idea what they want. Remember, we asked that question already. What do people want? Well, in this case, if I had to guess without actually going out and surveying, I would say they want lots of likes and lots of people to click on and share their stuff. To what end? I don't know. I suppose they get 1 million people watching them dance and they can run an ad or something, get some ad revenue, or, become a star or whatever. Okay. So I don't sell, become a star. That's not my sales pitch. I will make you a star. I suppose you can go to one of the hubs for entertainment industry and you can find an agent who will tell you they'll make you a star. And then when they don't, you can be like, oh, I was lied to. Anyway, that's show business. But the idea is that if you can make sense to people because you speak their language in such a way that connects with them emotionally and paints a picture on both sides, pro and con, right? Contrast this with that. Here's our common enemy. Here's the fortuitous solution. Here's the journey that we took from, and I relate to you, right? Because I was there too. And here's the journey, and here's how we triumphed, right? This makes sense to people. Why are we able to sit through a movie, like a entertainment, right? So why are we able to sit through a 2-hour presentation? Because it makes sense to us. Do we have any fans of The Matrix here? I named my daughter after one of the characters in The Matrix, the original Matrix, 1999. Trinity, right? The powerful woman character in that movie. Well, that original release, The Matrix, while it was kind of, the concept was, this is a false reality and it's all electrons and you're plugged into the matrix and this chair isn't real, this body isn't real. So I mean that's kind of an adventure that we went on. And then they milked it a bit, right? Here's the next one and the sequel, right? And it kind of right? And then recently they came out with just, I don't know, 6 months ago, there was a new Matrix movie. After years and years of being dormant, they're going to rebirth this Matrix thing, and it was garbage. I mean, I couldn't make any sense of it. I fell asleep on it. I don't even know if it was in theaters. I mean, it was crap. They had a budget. It wasn't a lack of flashing lights and whatever. It was just a lack of storyline. It was just crap, I think. And so does most people. Apparently, it was a bomb. So what did they not do? They didn't make sense. So I'm thinking that right now, while this is kind of a light and maybe a nebulous topic here, I want you to think about how you could do as Bob was talking about last night in our book study group, is make a point and make it like very easy to understand, like right out of the gate. Makes sense to me. That came up in our conversation last night while reading, studying the book that we're on, because Bob had mentioned, and if you're a member here, you can get the replay in the members site. But Bob had mentioned that having gotten back into reading as a result of joining this group, he has become less patient with filler. So he's looking for the nuggets, right? And so does this make sense to me? Is this something I can use? And that has been, I think, something that's been diluted over the years, right? Where people write books now just to get on a bestseller list, and maybe they got one or two good points, and the rest 200 pages of just filler and anecdotes and like whatever. I can't use this, right? But I got a nice thick book here that I could pay $19.95 for. So we become, or Bob has, become less interested or less tolerant of that. Needs to make sense. With that, I will leave you guys with, I don't have a whole lot more to say on this, but I'll leave you with an idea. And that is that within the context of whoever you're dealing with today, okay, so you're gonna talk to a customer, Lindsay. You're going to be on the phone with somebody, Catherine. Daisy's going to deal with clients at the company, right, or whatever. See if you can get into their head with what they really want, and see if you can make sense to them in a way that connects them to you, not just in the short term, but now they've got an ally. Now and you may also have a common enemy, right? But here's an ally that they just met, because you're speaking their language. And the solution that you present to them may or may not be what they expected, but because now you make sense to them, now you can say, and here's where we should go. You can now lead people because you've already got their attention, and it's you're predisposing them to cooperate with you, because look, people buy from people. And again, I've got a head full of political campaigns, because that's what I've been studying all day. But people buy from people. Why did I choose that candidate? Well, this is their platform, and including this is the words they used that indicated to me that they could be an ally. Interesting. Little words can go ahead and send people in one direction or another. All right. I won't go into details on that, but we got some people who are not what they appear to be, and it's revealed by little words that they used that are part of narratives and all this. Anyway, I hope you guys got some ideas out of this. I want you to make sense to people. And look, Gail, if your thing is shaking your butt on TikTok, go do it. Just make sure it makes sense. Yeah, Gail, I know who you are. Yeah. Okay, guys. Any thoughts on this? How to make sense. Does this make sense? Did I make sense? I hope I did. I see Virginia's here, Mandy, Lindsay, Edward, Daisy, Catherine, and Gail. Hey, Gail, you had a comment?
Yeah, just that I've often wondered with TikTok how I think they're supposed to be very short videos, and how some people can get so many followers and become so wealthy with things that they do. And I look at my grandkids, and they love to do things on TikTok. My granddaughter here, she's learned a lot about makeup, and she's very good at that. And my other two, they do dancing and everything. And so they do, the people who are on TikTok are appealing to different audiences and things. So it makes sense that you say you have to find out, what the person or the people that you're dealing with, it's something that they want, or maybe you can help them to want that. But I think there's an art to all that. And that's about it that I have to say.
Great. And do you know that you're talking about your grandchildren now? Mm-hmm. Are they able to monetize in this case, the makeup thing? Are they getting clients from that, or
No, the people that they're watching, they are, but my grandkids are not.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, my perception of the beauty and aesthetics industry is that there's training that goes into it, and it takes more than 18 seconds on a TikTok video. I'm guessing, right? So perhaps there's just lots of examples. Oh, look at that! 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 And now you get some ideas. I guess that's one way you could engage with that media.
Yeah.
I find it like, I don't know, maybe I'm just too intellectual or something. Hey, Mandy, help me, Mandy. What am I talking about with Gail here?
No, you're spot on. I don't think you are. I mean, you're just not the audience that the dancing girls are going for, are you, really? No. Hopefully not. I just don't want to be. Not your age.
I mean, as soon as you start the app, it's like a blasting music, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Am I just old or something? Is that what I am? Like,
no, it's just there are so many videos on there. You have to search on the ones that you want, and then it will keep giving you more and more of what you want. But if you keep watching those, it will give you more and more of the dancing girls, I believe.
Okay.
But it does
my
show.
Son occasionally, my son occasionally sends me a TikTok video to watch. They're all comedy, because he loves comedy. So there's so many different things.
Yeah, my son does a lot he watches a lot of the TikTok, but I think it also shows that these days in that arena, everybody a lot of people just want things quick now, because there's so much out there with, we've got the Facebooks, but Instagrams and everything else. They've got so much coming towards them. They want it all to be as quick as possible. And that's what TikTok's allowing people to do. And that's why we've got stories now, and we've got reels, and you've got Facebook starting to do that too. And I think it's just to make people need to be able to do it quickly, and they need to be able to digest it quickly, because they're just running out of time. But it is hard to know exactly what people want and to get into their heads, and to make sure that what you're offering is what people want. And I think over time, though, when you first start it, you're doing what you believe is what people want, and then you can tweak it over time. Mm-hmm. What I'm hopefully trying to do as well. From being in that situation, I think I know what people are looking for, but I want to help. So it's what I can do to help people with where they are with their Amazon business, is where I'm coming from, because I have a skill set that I think really could help make things, as you say, the time and everything much, much better, their profits better and everything. And yet they haven't got much attention span to get that over before they get bored, because there's other things you could all be doing, isn't there, than sitting in a workshop for me. So.
Well, Mandy, we had done a little training on a different social media app called Clubhouse, which is only available on iPhone. And I wound up abandoning it because the time commitment to engaging that was just extraordinary. And none of it's recorded. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I mean, you might come out with the most profound stuff ever that anybody ever heard, and poof, it's gone. I mean, it just violates my constitution. I can't do that. So anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I'd heard of that. Yep.
Anyway, thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Gail. Thank you for helping me
Thank
make
you.
sense of modern 21st century social media stuff. So, anybody else? All right. I'll be back here with you and Glenn tomorrow. You guys go forth and live long and prosper and all that. And then if I can assist you with anything, hit me up. All right. We'll see you guys real soon.